11 best things to do in Dali, China. Most people planning a trip to China have never heard of Dali. They go to Beijing for the Great Wall, Shanghai for the skyline, or Xi'an for the terracotta warriors. But tucked in the mountains of Yunnan Province is a city that quietly contains everything that makes China extraordinary. Ancient minority culture, sacred cliff-top temples, a lake the size of a small sea, and streets so unchanged they feel like a film set that was never torn down. These are the 11 best things to do in Dali, China. Number 1 isn't the one on every travel blog. It's the view that makes the entire city make sense. Number 11. The ancient city is a Dali's living center, enclosed by Ming Dynasty walls, framed by mountains on one side and Erhai Lake on the other. The architecture belongs to the Bai people, one of China's 55 ethnic minorities, who have lived in this valley for over 1,000 years. Stone streets, carved wooden houses, painted courtyards, and locals still going about their actual lives inside it. Keep the souvenir-heavy main strip and turn into the side alley. That's where the old city actually lives. Number 10. The Wenmiao, the Confucian Temple, is one of the most architecturally composed spaces in Dali. Classic progressive courtyards lead to a main hall, housing Confucius and his disciples, all rendered with the quiet gravity of a tradition that shaped Chinese civilization for 2,000 years. The Bai decorative details woven through the structure make this a distinct Yunnan interpretation of something deeply national. Number 9. Built in 1927, the Dali Catholic Church is one of those places that requires a second look. From the street that it reads as a standard Bai residence, then a cross appears on the rooftop. Inside, the ceiling is painted deep blue with gold stars, and the Virgin Mary at the altar wears full Bai minority costume. Two completely different traditions finding working synthesis in a single room. It takes 15 minutes and stays with visitors far longer. Number 8. 19 peaks. The tolls at 4,122 meters. The cable car from the old city reached the cloudy track at around 2,600 meters, a mountain path running along the ridge line with continuous views down over the ancient city and across the full breadth of Erhai Lake. The air is clean, cold and scented with pine. For a complete half day, the cable car up, a few hours on the trail, and the cable car down is hard to beat in all of the Yunnan. Number 7. Halfway up the Cangshan slopes, Gantong Temple has been described in all texts as one of the most elegant religious sites in all of the Yunnan. Ancient trees, classic tech-influenced architecture, and courtyard levels that climb progressively higher up the mountainside. From the upper terrace, Erhai Lake appears as a silver sheet between the mountain and the far shore. Monks have been looking at this view for over 1,000 years. And number 6. Once a year, during the third lunar month, Sanyuejie, March Street, transforms the ground at the foot of Cangshan into one of the longest festivals in southwest China. Over 1,000 years old, it started as a temple fair and evolved into regional events, drawing hundreds of thousands. Pear-true, jade, medicinal herbs, Bai folk dancing, and competitive horse racing. One of the great festivals of Western China, and almost unknown outside it. Dates shift with lunar calendar. Check in advance. The town fills completely during festival week. Book early. Number 5. Running through the old city alongside a channel of clear snow melts water from the Cangshan peaks. Honglongjing Street is the unhurried version of Dali. Locals crouch at the channel washing vegetables. Small cafes spill onto the cobblestones. Ancient walls are covered in moss and vine. An afternoon here, with nothing in particular to do, is worth more than most ticket attractions in the city. Number 4. Where the mountain temples lean toward serenity, Wumiao has weight. Dedicated to Zhonghe, a Han Dynasty general elevated over centuries into deity loyalty, justice, and protection, the martial temple carries the full drama of that tradition. Powerful and carved stone, commanding statues, halls that actively used for worship by people praying for protection and righteous outcomes. Number 3. Inside the ancient city walls, invisible to most itineraries, Yuer Park is where Dali's residents actually spend their time. Morning tai chi, afternoon chess games, elderly men with cage birds, ponds reflecting the Cangshan ridge line. An hour here, rather than pushing between landmarks, changed the texture of a trip entirely. But the difference between seeing Dali and sensing it. Number 2. 20 kilometers north, Xizhou is the best preserved bay village in Yunnan and almost entirely uncommercialized. The town's 19th century merchant mansions, with elaborate carved wooden screens, painted courtyards, and stone archways, are still standing. The Yan family compound is open to visitors. Xizhou, a flat bread cooked on traditional griddles by street vendors, costs almost nothing and is genuinely excellent. Rent a bicycle and take the Erhai Lake path north, far better than a car. Number 1. Here's what no photograph of Dali fully communicates: the scale of the relationship between the mountain, the city, and the lake. Zhonghe Temple sits at 3,000 meters on the Cangshan slopes, reached by cable car in 10 minutes. At the top, 250 square kilometers of Erhai Lake to the east, the ancient city directly below. The far shore 30 kilometers away, the entire valley in a single frame. The temple itself, classic halls, ancient trees, monks in residence. It's beautiful, but this view that people return to and still can't quite capture. Every city has a vantage point that explains why it exists where it does. This is Dali's. Last cable car down runs around 5:30 p.m. Don't miss it. Ancient minority culture, sacred mountain temples, a colonial-era church unlike anything else in Asia, living markets unchanged for 1,000 years, all of it in one valley, the mountains of Yunnan. Subscribe for more destinations like this. Drop the next one in the comments.